What would you say are the biggest trends you've seen in marketing over the last year, 2 years?
Well, I mean, obviously we're seeing a huge trend towards, more social and user-generated content and stuff like that, and it's natural. My good buddy Roy Williams out of Austin, Texas as well, runs the Wizard Academy, and he actually does this presentation where he shows how marketing society goes in 40-year pendulums. We go from a very idealistic society to a more civic society. In other words, we're more I and more about me focused. If you think about Madonna and Michael Jackson at their peak in the 80s, all the way to, if you think back to the 60s, we're very civic minded and unions and the Peace Corps and all of that. And what's happened is, if you think about that gap of 20 years, here we were at the most civic back in about 63, and about 2003 we came back, right? Here was 83, where we're all about I, and it was all about plastic and phoniness, and you can see all the lousy commercials from the time, stuff like that, all so fake. You come down to 2003, and now 2003 looks just like 1963, but just in the reverse part of the pendulum. And what we're seeing is slowly evolving, that everybody's moving back into this more social thing, because we became so isolated that we're looking for more connections to people. And having that connection means so much to people, and that if companies can foster those conversations and get people to join their conversation, and something that's really meaningful, not just for the sake of humor or anything like that, they're going to see some great results over the year. And because of this connection to people, what happens is word of mouth spreads faster. And if word of mouth spreads faster, there's one other issue that's critical for your marketing today, which is you need to become more transparent. Because you can fool somebody once, and back in the 80s when it was, not everybody had a cell phone, not everyone had a BlackBerry, not everyone had IM or text messages. You can get away with it for quite a while until someone, came out. Today, you have a bad experience. My mom had a bad experience with Best Buy. I put it on the blog 2 days later. Best Buy called me. Tons of people commenting about it. It's a different world. And so you know what? Either you're going to have great service, great products, and you're going to be transparent about it and be honest about what you can and cannot do, or you're going to pay the price. We were even seeing it in the movie industry. If you think about, there's a classic Hollywood formula. Let's take the leading man at the time, leading woman at the time, put them together, make a summer romance movie, and you're going to have a big hit. Always worked. Worked for 50, 60 years. Remember the movie Geely? Right. Yeah. Horrible movie. No one's admit ever seeing it. Okay. But the movie came out like on a Tuesday. By Wednesday, ticket sales were down 18%. By Saturday, it was yanked out of the theater. Now, I mean, you remember the pink diamond that he bought? And it was a whole big tabloid thing. For all intents and purposes, it should have worked. Big difference? People had text messaging and IM, and it got out. The word got out so quickly. So, I look at this, and so now the third dimension. So you have this, conversation. You have this transparency, and the third dimension is speed. People are not taking advantage. They're sitting around acting like they did for the last 20, 30, 40 years. And this world is moving much faster than they are. And unless they can find ways to execute at internet-type speeds, they're going to be left behind in a hard way.
It's a hard business world. We just keep getting faster and faster and faster. And more.
What happens is there's an evolution of sales and marketing that we talk about. We talk about in Waiting for Your Cat to Bark, where if you think about the first sale, and I don't care what your religious background is, it could involve an apple, right? Or it was some form of barter of one way or another. Every evolution from retailing to big stores to catalog to the internet, what it does is it actually makes it much easier on the consumer and reduces their friction, their hard work, right? It gives them more options. But while at the same time reducing friction, right? It's just general law of physics. When you reduce something in one place, what has to happen? It has to go up somewhere else. And that hard work has to come to the person who wants to make money. And so, yeah, it's a lot of work today. It's the scary part. It's not going to come easy. It's not going to come as easy as it did 10 years ago.
And it's getting harder all the time. It's an uphill.
And there's more and more options and more media choices. Facebook, MySpace, video contents, YouTube. It's just overwhelming that every day. Twitter. It's just another channel, another media source. And how do you keep up with it? How do you decide where to invest? One of my big suggestions is to take a percentage of your budget and have people who are just experimenting different things until you finally get it. And don't count on wins. Count on, this is an experiment. Let's see what it can do and learn about it and see how it evolves. I have a good friend who works at Procter & Gamble, and his title is Chief Investigator of Alternative Media. Right? Who do you have in your company who's doing that? Yeah, cool title.
That's a great title. I fell over backwards when we actually appointed somebody chief evangelist. You know? A small company, a dozen people, and we have an evangelist.
By the way, I think that's one of the other big roles that you're going to see in a lot of companies. I did a blog post and an article about it in ClickSee, where I interviewed Betsy Weber from TechSmith about it and what it takes and how you look at it and how you measure it and the ROI of it. And yeah, I mean, you need someone who's responsible to have the conversation. It's great if it can be the CEO, but oftentimes CEO has a lot of responsibility and he should be part of the conversation, but he can't manage it day to day. You need someone who's there, who's passionate about it, who wants to be part of it, and hopefully you can get that from someone who's within your community, really, and make them that evangelist and then help them increase that conversation any way you can.
Yeah, exactly. So you got the blog. You've written books, you're speaking at conferences left and right all the time, you're involved in trainings with Roy, Wizards of the Web down there. What other outlets have you got?
Well, the blog is a big one. Our big thing is, we've been trying to educate the market on the importance of conversion for so many years. I think the market's finally starting to wake up saying, oh yeah, got visitors now, what do I do with them? We've been doing this stuff since '98 and, we've been publishing all kinds of stuff. So Grok.com is a big channel for us. We've just started doing screencasts. We figured, okay, we've got about 2 million words out there. If people can't get it in words, we'll do it in video. And so what we do is we, do a 3 to 5 minute clip, and we look at websites and we look at, product detail pages of like Fingerhut and Best Buy and Tiger Direct, and we say, oh, this one, why this one works well, what this one doesn't. We'll look at, how people are doing landing pages from pay-per-click campaigns. We did that with Petco recently. And so we're doing a lot of these screencasts, and that's a big avenue. We also do a lot of trainings, and I think that's one of the key things. I think one of the biggest challenges, I'm also the chairman of the Web Analytics Association, former chairman, but still quite involved and the founder of it, is that this whole industry suffers from a lack of talent in many ways, but also knowledge. It's very complex. It's not an easy, I produce print ads. It's a lot more challenging than that. And our big focus has been doing a lot of training courses. So we do classes that we call Call to Action, which is all about how to design for conversion and thinking about it from our process called Persuasion Architecture. We do classes on persuasive online copywriting, relate very directly to the book and, thinking about it in terms of blogging today and the content you develop and, not just for commerce. I mean, copywriting is the key, and even planning video content is all around copywriting, understanding what you're trying to do and what you're trying to get out of it. And we do a little bit of consulting, and yeah, we also have a radio show that we do on Webmaster Radio called Blog Buzz, where in about 3 to 5 minutes we give you a summary of all the top stories that are happening in the interactive marketing space. So if you don't have time to follow the roughly 7,000 blogs we're doing right now, we have an automated system that a friend of ours from Austin actually developed. And we're saying, okay, these are the top stories that pretty much everybody's discussing. Here's a quick summary of them and a little bit of our take on it, and you're done, instead of having to read it all.
Excellent. So, well, we are about out of time here. I appreciate you taking the time to be with us, Bryan.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Anytime.